The relentless march of time is one of the most fundamental constants in our existence. Yet, our experience of it is anything but constant. Cast your mind back to your childhood summers, those endless stretches of sun-drenched days, each one brimming with new adventures, making every week feel like a small eternity. Now, contrast that with the bewildering speed at which months, even years, seem to evaporate as an adult, blurring into a succession of routines and familiar obligations. Why does this profound disparity exist? Why does time seem to accelerate with each passing birthday, defying the steady tick of the clock? The answer is not found in the immutable laws of physics, but deep within the intricate mechanisms of our own minds, in the surprising revelation of how novelty shapes time. Our intuitive grasp of time is deceptively simple. It's a universal, objective dimension, a linear river flowing at an unvarying rate. We've been conditioned since childhood to measure it precisely with clocks and calendars, to organize our lives around its unwavering rhythm. We assume, almost subconsciously, that our internal perception of time should fundamentally mirror this external, objective reality. A minute is 60 seconds, an hour is 60 minutes, whether we're experiencing exhilarating joy or monotonous boredom. This deeply ingrained belief leads us to dismiss any deviations in our time perception as mere subjective whims, fleeting emotional states that momentarily distort an otherwise stable internal chronometer. We believe that, at its core, our brain is a reliable timekeeper, recording events with a dispassionate, consistent temporal accuracy. However, this familiar assumption, comforting as it is, begins to fray under closer scrutiny. Our brains are not passive chronometers, they are intensely active interpreters, constantly constructing our reality from a deluge of sensory input. The subjective feeling of time is not a mere byproduct of our emotions, but a complex cognitive construct, profoundly influenced by how we process and encode our experiences. It turns out that our internal clock is less like a precisely engineered atomic timepiece and more like a fluid, adaptable storyteller, constantly editing and reshaping the narrative of duration based on a surprising variable, novelty. The objective passage of time is one thing, our lived experience of it is often an entirely different, and far more intricate, beast. To grasp this, let's delve into a fascinating perceptual quirk known as chronostasis, sometimes informally referred to as the stopped clock illusion. Imagine glancing at an analog clock. If you rapidly shift your gaze from, say, a book to the clock face, you might experience the second hand appearing to freeze for a fraction longer than a standard second before it resumes its rhythmic sweep. What's happening? During the rapid eye movement, or saccade, your visual input is momentarily suppressed. To maintain a seamless, continuous perception of the world, your brain effectively fills in this temporal gap by stretching the perceived duration of the visual information just prior to your gaze landing on the clock. It's a subtle yet powerful demonstration that our brain isn't just passively observing time, it's actively manipulating it, fabricating continuity, and retrospectively extending moments to create a coherent, albeit subtly altered, sensory experience. This isn't an error, it's a feature of our visual processing designed to make the world feel stable despite our eyes constantly jumping around. This temporal elasticity becomes even more apparent when we consider the intricate relationship between time perception and memory formation. Think back to a memorable vacation or a significant life event. While you were experiencing it, each day might have felt rich and expansive, packed with new sights, sounds, and interactions. Yet, weeks or months later, looking back, that same period often feels surprisingly concise, the holiday paradox in action. This isn't just selective memory. Our brains appear to gauge the duration of past events not primarily by their objective chronological length, but by the density of unique, novel memories they contain. When we are immersed in new environments or engaging in unfamiliar activities, our brains are compelled to work harder, laying down a multitude of distinct neural traces. This abundance of fresh data, each a unique temporal marker, makes the present moment feel elongated, and in retrospect, provides a richer tapestry for the brain to weave, creating a sense of a longer past. Conversely, routines generate fewer novel memories, offering the brain less distinct information to reconstruct, leading to a perceived compression of time. The most compelling and perhaps unsettling explanation for time's acceleration with age lies in the diminishing proportion of novelty. For a 5-year-old, a single year constitutes a monumental 20% of their entire lived existence. Every day is a sensory feast, a cascade of firsts: the first taste of a new food, the first wobbly bike ride, the first friend, a new school experience. Each of these events is a highly novel experience, demanding significant cognitive resources to process, analyze, and encode as distinct, robust memories. These memory anchors are plentiful, creating a dense network that makes childhood feel vast and endless. As we mature, however, a year becomes a progressively smaller fraction of our total life. By the time we reach 50, a year represents a mere 2% of our existence. Concurrently, the rate of truly novel, groundbreaking experiences typically declines. Our lives often become more structured, filled with established routines, familiar faces, and predictable patterns. Our brains have fewer new bookmarks to lay down, fewer genuinely unique events to tie to specific temporal markers. Without this rich, constantly replenished tapestry of fresh memories, the brain has less data to reconstruct the past, less to distinguish one period from another. This leads to the sensation that entire decades have simply blurred into one another, accelerating relentlessly, leaving us to wonder where the time went. Therefore, our experience of time is not merely observed, it is actively constructed by our cognitive processes, primarily through the lens of memory and novelty. It's less about the objective ticking of an external clock and more about the internal frame rate of our lived experience. When our lives are rich with new information, demanding our attention and generating fresh memories, our internal frame rate feels higher, and the perceived duration of moments and periods expands. When life becomes routine and predictable, the frame rate drops, and our internal cinematic experience feels compressed, sped up, and ultimately, less memorable. The apparent illusion of time speeding up isn't a flaw in our perception, it's a profound feature of how our brains process, prioritize, and ultimately make sense of the ceaseless flow of existence. Understanding this isn't just a fascinating academic insight, it offers a potent framework for consciously influencing our experience of life. If novelty is the profound architect of our temporal perception, then we possess a powerful tool to slow down the relentless march of time. Actively seeking out new experiences, whether learning a new language, exploring an unfamiliar city, cultivating a challenging hobby, or even simply breaking small, ingrained routines, can fundamentally alter our subjective perception of how quickly life is passing by. It suggests that stagnation, complacency, and the embrace of monotonous predictability aren't merely boring, they are, in a very real cognitive sense, accelerating our perceived journey through life, causing large segments to vanish into an unmemorable blur. By intentionally injecting novelty, by consistently challenging our brains with fresh stimuli, we can enrich our memory banks, create more distinct temporal markers, and thereby make our days, weeks, and years feel genuinely fuller, more expansive, and more enduring. This re-evaluation of time, a dimension we often take for granted as unequivocally fixed, compels us to question deeper. If our perception of something as fundamental as time is so intricately interwoven with our internal cognitive machinery, shaped by the density of our memories and the presence of novelty, what other aspects of our objective reality might also be more a subjective construct of our minds than an external, unassailable truth?